Hello, dear students. This is Sushma Singh, and you are watching Booster Classes. I welcome you back to today's session with a very big heart. Today, we will be doing the comprehensive study of yet another poem from Flamingo Book of Standard 12 CBSE. The name of this feminist poem is Aunt Jennifer's Tigers, composed by Adrienne Rich, who was one of the most vocal feminist voices to be heard in the late 20th century American poetry. So students, what are you waiting for? Consider subscribing to my YouTube channel and get benefited. First and foremost, let me give you the overview of this sensitive poem. As a matter of fact, Aunt Jennifer's Tigers is clearly a feminist poem which deals with the women's struggle against oppression at the hands of patriarchal society. And Aunt Jennifer represents all those women. Aunt Jennifer's isolation and her exploitation compel her to create an alternate world of freedom in the world of her art. Here, her needlework. Aunt Jennifer's needlework provides a space where she can project her bottled up aspirations and how her desires live beyond her death as an expression of her identity. This poem criticizes the traditional institution of marriage, suggesting that it oppresses women. Aunt Jennifer is trapped in her marriage, and her seemingly hopeless state is contrasted with the freedom of the tigers that she has created. Aunt Jennifer's creation of the tigers symbolize her longing to be free and powerful, just as the tigers who are not bound by the limits set by man as she is. Hence, the poem deals with a woman's situation represented by Aunt Jennifer's dream, her reality, and the future. Before we proceed further, let's take a look at the theme of this wonderful poem. This poem, Aunt Jennifer's Tigers, actually explores the major themes of womanhood and marriage, repression of one's personality by social institutions, importance of creative expression, and personal freedom. This poem also raises the issue of gender equality and brings out the message that women need to be respected and should have liberty to live according to their own desires. The poet encourages us to cultivate the value of boldness to confront injustice. The poet underlines the idea that timidity in any form is bad. One who is timid is a loser. This is what the poet suggests through the hopeless situation of Aunt Jennifer in this poem. Now, this poem also conveys a very strong message that the fact of superiority of art over life. In the world of art, there is no fear and no death. In the very first stanza of this poem, we are transported from the real world to the imaginary world of freedom by Aunt Jennifer through her needlework, which she uses as escape from her oppressive reality. She is denied every kind of freedom and is oppressed. So, through her needlework, she unfolds her innermost desires to live a bold, free, and fearless life. Aunt Jennifer is expressing her pain through her art, creating a picture of how she would like her life to be. She actually wants nothing but respect, equality, and dignity from her husband. Let's do the line by line explanation of the stanza. The action word Prance emphasizes the strength of the tigers. Aunt Jennifer has created brave, confident, and proud tigers that prance across the panel and roam around freely as opposed to the restricted environment and confinement of Aunt Jennifer. Her tigers are bright like yellow glittering topaz stone, which expresses the fierce energy, and they inhabit a world that is green. Green color now here students reminds us of spring and vitality. And this reveals her dream of happier and vibrant life. Aunt Jennifer's tigers are unafraid of the men beneath the tree. They are fearless and conduct themselves in a very heroic and manly fashion. But Aunt Jennifer is scared of her own husband, who is her oppressor. The tigers that Aunt Jennifer has created look elegant and they are confident and certain of who they are and what they want. Tigers conduct themselves in a chivalric manner. The chivalric certainty is a representation of the boldness and confidence envisioned by Aunt Jennifer for herself. Here, let me give you the in-depth explanation of the second stanza. The gloomy, closed, and distressed domestic space of the second stanza is contrasted, sharply contrasted, with the open, spacious, and natural atmosphere of the forest that was painted in the first stanza by Aunt Jennifer. The focus now shifts from bold and fearless tigers to timid and fearful Aunt Jennifer. The stanza therefore reflects about the realistic side of Aunt Jennifer, who has implied slavery. That is, by playing the role of beautiful wife, how nervous and fragile Aunt Jennifer has become. She feels trapped in an oppressive marriage and succumbed to the male dominated society. While Aunt Jennifer is embroidering tigers on the panel, her fingers are fluttering. Now, why this is? This is because of nervousness, anxiety, fear, and weakness. And all these are there due to an oppressive marriage, gender role, and as well as dominating society. She finds it really difficult to pull even a small needle made of ivory through the canvas. Her inability to do this needlework or artwork, you can say, represents her inability to express herself in a male dominated society. Now, the phrase massive wave is actually a hyperbolic reference. You can take it as a symbol also, where the weight of the wedding band is used to represent that Aunt Jennifer's life is burdened by the heaviness of her oppressive marriage. Marriage to Aunt Jennifer is a cause of her confinement. Thus, the weight of the ring is more mental than physical. Now, the wedding ring or the wedding band here is the symbol of oppressive or difficult marriage. That is the patriarchal society in which Aunt Jennifer lives. Its binding influence weighs the finger down when she attempts to make the expression of herself through her needlework. She wants to give a creative expression, but she fails. The ring appears more of restraint than a symbol of love, joy, or commitment. Now it sits heavily. This phrase suggests that Aunt Jennifer is overburdened with duties and responsibilities of a patriarchal society, indicating how victimized, oppressed, and dominated she is in a man-made institution of marriage. The concluding stanza of this poem is indeed ghastly one because it presents the readers with the sight of Aunt Jennifer's lifeless body. This final stanza is a narrative of the future. The hardship of her oppressive marriage will accompany Aunt Jennifer even to her grave, and the ring on her finger will remain as a proof of the unhappy marriage. Even in death, Aunt Jennifer must conform to the patriarchal society in which she lives. Therefore, her hands represent the reality of her life, that is, the terror and dominance of her husband. And that is why, even when Aunt died, her lifeless hands were surrounded by the difficulties, responsibilities, and duties that actually ruled over her while she was alive. Aunt Jennifer had neither escaped the burdens of her relationship nor won the battle against male-dominating society. It is very ironic that even death would not liberate her from the oppression and difficulties that she faced, because the wedding band, the wedding ring, a symbol of oppression, would yet be on her finger. However, the tigers that she made will remain free and ferocious and will go on prancing proudly and unafraid, indicating their ongoing freedom. They will remain in this world as her legacy. And this emphasizes that human beings are mortals, whereas the artistic creations are immortals. Her artwork, which was her escape route, or in a way, her inner sense of freedom, will stay forever as an expression of her identity, indicating that creative expression can really bring a sense of inner peace and instill confidence. Now here I would like to add on, students, that you all must have noticed that in the last stanza the poet has used just the word aunt. The full name Aunt Jennifer has not been mentioned. Now why it is so? It's very simple. We all know that due to complete suppression, Aunt Jennifer has completely lost her identity, and thus she has lost her name also. So only aunt word the poet has used. This poem is also noted for the remarkable use of poetic devices which have effectively depicted the pathetic condition of married women. All the literary elements used in this poem are mentioned along with their explanations as well as examples for your better understanding in this slide. Students, you can note them down and keep revising the poetic devices. As regards the tone of the poem, we find that the tone appears to be positive and cheerful when the poet describes the tigers created by Aunt Jennifer, but it becomes very sad and dull at the times when describing Aunt Jennifer's real life. And concerning the style of the poem, we can say that it is a formal verse poem, three quatrains with two rhyming couplets, each in A A B B C C D D E E F F rhyme scheme. I'm extremely hopeful that you all must have got the in-depth explanation of this poem. Student, these questions will surely help you to check your comprehension level. So without fail, give an attempt to solve them and deepen your understanding. Keep watching and keep learning. Thank you.